Two of the biggest shopping days of the year, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, are officially over. So now we're here off our shopping high on Tuesday, and it's time to kind of evaluate the 2 days, compare them to each other. But before we start, guys, I think it's important to note about the Black Friday violence. In the past years, it's actually been worse. This year was relatively peaceful compared to what we've seen. There was 1 death and 15 casualties. So, I mean, there was a lot of hustle and bustle and chaos, but for the most part, in comparison to other years, not so bad. So before we get into that, Jess, how did the 2 days go in terms of sales?
Now, the big thing about these 2 days was online and mobile. So on Black Friday, sales were up over 17%, and then on Cyber Monday, it was up about 70% as well. But with that 17%, 30% of it was like mobile, online, people using their phones. So people, they didn't necessarily want to go in line and wait. It was more convenient for them to use their phones to go online and do that. And also, looking at Black Friday, although, online spending was up, it showed that people were spending less, but people were spending less because companies have marked down so much right now because there's 6 fewer shopping days between Thanksgiving and Christmas compared to last year. So companies are being so competitive with promotions right now, and that's what they're pushing. So you can look forward to, more sales going on now between now and Christmas.
So is it fair to say that Cyber Monday was a more profitable day?
Cyber Monday looks like this is going to be the biggest sales day for online ever.
Wow,
those
ever
are the
in
projections,
history.
right?
Wow, and I know there was a lot of great deals for video games and consoles for both days. So Vince, where was the money at?
Most of the money, believe it or not, went to Sony. So they just pushed their 2 millionth console out the door. Microsoft's not far behind, but one of the more interesting deals was actually from Nintendo. They haven't been doing well, especially in the face of the 2 new consoles. So actually a really great deal that they had was you would get the Wii U console and you would get 3 games with it for about $320. Now that's undercutting both Sony and Microsoft by at least $100. And neither of them really had any deals that would rival that. But since they're so new, I guess even though it's Cyber Monday and it's a big shopping day, of course, they weren't going to play all their cards on the table just yet with that.
So for consoles, were people lining up on Black Friday, or were they at work or at home for Cyber Monday?
Well, unfortunately, it was both. And I say unfortunately because, as you mentioned, things tended to get a little bit bloody in both the U.S. and in Europe, actually. There was a big viral video from Germany where people were lining up for PS4s. There was one guy just kind of casually strolling into the display. Then there was about 20 guys behind him who knocked him over and the display over.
The tech fans are serious about
They are. They're really crazy. I mean, there was some poor guy in San Francisco who bought one and sold it, but then he got shot by the guy he was trying to sell it to.
Is it worth it? Are the savings that drastic here in the US?
No, and there weren't even savings on this. This was just a new item. That's the scarier part. It wasn't even a super huge deal on it.
It's more about the frenzy of the shopping.
Exactly, and if you really needed something that bad, honestly, you could have just bought it on Cyber Monday. That's what I wound up doing.
So you shopped on Cyber
Monday? I
Monday?
made one purchase because the deal was so good.
What'd
and it
you
was
get?
that Wii that I was talking about.
You should bring it into the office. We can play.
Hey, I might just do that.
And Jesse, how about you? When did you shopping? We actually worked on Friday, so I know.
Right,
you didn't
exactly.
Go
I actually did not purchase anything on either day. I am holding out for a couple other days right before Christmas for certain things that I want. More just, retail, dresses, things like that at a couple different stores. But
I'm holding out for some dresses myself.
It's definitely exactly. It's definitely going to be more like online stuff though. I'm not going in. I don't want to deal with people in lines. It's just too much, especially all this violence going on.
It's scary. And
right?
Is it going to be more sales in the lead up to Christmas, or do you think these 2 shopping days are...
No, there's going to be so many more leading up to that because, like I said, it's because of those 6 fewer shopping days. Companies are just so competitive right now with each other. Like Best Buy, for instance, obviously they have their brick and mortar. You can go into the store or you can go online. But they warned a couple weeks ago they're worried about these promotions are going to hurt them in the fourth quarter. And there's already other companies like Ross, the retailer, said, they're trying to compete with so many of those middle to lower income consumer companies, retailers trying to compete with that, with those lower prices. So they're worried, they might be, people are coming in, but they're not going to hit those profit margins that they're supposed to. So we're going to have to wait and see after this quarter is over in January and February when they start reporting. It might not be that great of an outlook as companies are reporting right now.
Right. So it seems like Cyber Monday was a better day all round for shoppers and for the companies. So do you think Black Friday will become obsolete in the next few years?
Never.
No.
People always line up. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
It seems as though it's going to be more Black Thursday now because you have so many companies.
Let's line up everybody at 8 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day.
You had more and more companies this year opening up, at 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock on Thanksgiving Day. So, what's going to happen now with Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
Well, there
all
you
those
go.
poor retail employees.
Right.
I feel their pain.
Right.
5 years I did retail. It just gets really ridiculous, even if there's no sales on anything.
Well, I think the lesson here is clear. Shop online for your gifts and presents for yourself, people.